Hello! I want to make a video update today because, well, I felt like putting on makeup. That's kind of it. I have been cranking away at multiple choice questions and at essay questions for the July 2024 California bar exam. Very exciting. It's coming up in about, oh my goodness gracious, 3.5 weeks. I've answered on Adaptabar. I'm not using UWorld this time. I'm using Adaptabar. I have answered 790 questions so far, and I have received a 63.3%. JD Advising says you should aim, we should aim, I should aim for 65% minimum to pass. So, not quite there yet, but have a few weeks to keep cranking things out. I've been performing the best on constitutional law, almost 75%, which is kind of crazy, with my backup right behind that is criminal law at 69%, almost 70%, which if you remember, criminal law was one of my, criminal law on February 2024's exam was one of my lowest performing subjects. So the fact that it's now like second highest in practice, kind of interesting. Below that is real property at 64.8%. Then we have contracts at 62%. Then we have torts at 61%. Then we have evidence at 57% and civil procedure at 54%. So again, I want to say, if you remember, like I'm a big celebrity. I scored the highest on evidence on the February 2024 exam. And now I'm scoring second to lowest in it, which tracks more with how I was performing on my Adaptabar practice sets or on my UWorld practice sets prior to my February exam. But somehow that ended up being my best performing subject. I don't know. The Mary Basic and Tina Schindler MBE Decoded Multi-State Bar Exam book recommends that everyone completes 2,500 questions before sitting for the California bar exam. I'm at 790 right now. I don't think I'm going to hit that. I am trying to hit at least 1,500 before I sit for the exam. We're going to see how much I can crank out over these next few days. I started studying basically a week after I found out I didn't pass this past May, and working as well. So I've been studying in the evenings as well as on the weekends, and then taking vacation days at work, and then on weeks when there's not a federal holiday in the middle of the week, and studying on those days, right? And then something crazy happened for this past 2 weeks. Nothing actually crazy in my life, just that my body just went, I'm done. I'm done. I don't know what happened, but I feel like I was going pretty well, able to, kind of be up till 9 p.m. on days and be locked in, right? Because I've had days where I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down to study. And I sit down and I spend maybe about 4 hours of good studying, and then like 2 or 3 hours of like, oh, what's the news? Oh, let me check on my cat. Oh, let me check on Reddit. Oh, let me check on YouTube, right? So it's a lot of messing around. It feels like in this past 2 weeks, I don't know what in the world happened, but my brain shifted into like 2 hours, maybe even 1 hour of solid work, or studying when I say work, and then more time dedicated to messing around, goofing off, being silly. This is not a time to be silly. That's also part of why I went to the library today. Insert footage of me at the library. I'm having a good time. I'm having fun. I'm at the library. And I did that in part to get myself out and about, trying to shake some of this shame off, get back out there into society. Because, I don't know, I think part of why it's been so hard to get myself to study this past few weeks is because I have to face myself, right? And face the reality that this exam is coming up again, which means an opportunity to fail as well as an opportunity to pass is also coming up again. And that's terrifying. But it's not as terrifying as the prospect was the first and the second time, because the first time I was like, oh gosh, what happens if I fail? Then I failed. Second time, oh my gosh, what happens if I fail a second time? Failed a second time. Now I'm sort of like, I guess nothing happens. I guess I just keep paying the bar exam until I pass. Because that's kind of how I've decided to think about it, although I want this to be my last time, obviously. One thing that's kind of broke my brain is at my job, we had clerks start who are, one of them is a rising 2L, I think, and they're from a California law school and plan on taking the California bar exam. And they were saying how one of their professors at their law school is on the committee that's writing questions for the next generation bar exam for California. And it just sort of reminded me, and I started looking into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person, when they graduate, they probably won't even be taking this exam. And so I'm studying so hard for this exam that is being phased out slowly. People are working to phase it out, but of course you can't do that instantaneously. And I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain how I felt about it, but I was like, interesting. My essays have been going okay. I think something I focused on this time more than last time was brevity, like trying to be really succinct, literally like sticking so incredibly close to the IRAC structure, issue as the heading, rule, sentence, enter, so space, and then another sentence or paragraph, whatever I need of analysis. Really applying the rule to the facts, just like bunk, 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 bunk. Like, and if there's, the analysis will go, like, let's say there's a rule with multiple elements. Each element will likely have its own sentence in the analysis unless it needs more. And then a sentence for conclusion, next issue. Because one thing I've learned, now take this with a grain of salt because I have not passed yet. This is just from someone who's been studying for the same exam for about a year now. The facts can be interchanged with different adjectives, I guess, or different players. But the rule, sometimes you can glean what the rule they're getting at is from the facts. I don't think this sounds very eloquent. I don't think I'm saying this right. Mary Basic and Tina Schindler talk about this in the MBE Decoded book, is when I approach a MBE question is reading the question before I read the fact pattern. So, or reading question, then each answer. And sometimes you actually can answer the question just from that. And I have had instances where I answer a question just based on that, and I like skim the facts, and then it's fine, and then I get the question right on Adaptive R. I don't know. I'll be honest, I mostly made this video because I wanted to put makeup on. If you're studying, what's going on? I've been watching a lot of old YouTubers. I want to be a YouTuber. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a YouTuber when I grew up. So now I'm going to be a YouTuber now that I'm grown up. Support your local library. Goodbye. Goodbye. So let's talk about statistical updates. Okay. So, Adaptive-R. Last time I used UWorld. This time I'm using Adaptive-R. Or